Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we are discussing foreigners behaving badly in Thailand, and this is not a video designed to just focus on the foreigners and all for wrong or bad. No, not the case. Actually, what I really am wanting to point out here is just kind of how high season is such a surreal experience, and that Thais just kind of get through it. They get on with it, but it is strange. I got to be honest. If I was living back in the States and for like a third of the year, a bunch of foreigners came into town and, pitched a bunch of woo and did a bunch of really weird stuff, I mean, it would be an odd experience to say the least. So I think it gives some insight onto sort of expat Thailand when tourist season basically rolls back around. In any event, I thought of making this video after reading two articles from the Phuket News. That's thephuketnews.com. The first one was titled, "Wayward Russian Man Arrested at Airport," quoting directly, "Tourist police and officials from the Tourist Assistance Center, TAC, resolved a situation yesterday, December 11th, that saw a Russian man wandering around the airport wearing only blue denim shorts and at one point climbing onto the balcony of one of the main terminals." Cool. Interesting to say the least. I urge those who are watching this video, go read these articles in detail and you can kind of see like, okay, so this is what the tourist police had to deal with that day. It's not exactly Andy of Mayberry, exactly. In any event, I read another article again from the Phuket News, that's thephuketnews.com, titled, "Foreigners Removed from Camping on Patong Beach." A group of foreigners have been forced to remove their tent from Patong Beach and find suitable accommodation elsewhere. Again, I urge those who are watching this video, go check out that article in detail. A bunch of foreigners just decided, hey, notwithstanding the fact that clearly nobody's allowed to live out on the beach, we're just gonna do it, because we're foreigners. I kind of chalk this up to the same phenomenon as so-called bag packing, where I don't know what it is, but foreigners I've never been to another country that this happens in, by the way. It's worth noting this, where foreigners just come in and it's just, hey, anything goes, we can do whatever we want. And it's because we're foreign, the Thais sort of won't bother us about, yeah, no, that's not how it is. First of all, it's not anything goes. And secondly, I mean, honestly, and I'm not picking on the Russians here, but the article was about a Russian man, so let's just use that as an example. Do you think that he would have a fun time if he was walking around with only a pair of denim shorts on, was climbing up and down balconies in the airport terminal in Moscow, or St. Petersburg, or, any of the other major cities in Russia? No, just like you wouldn't have that, you'd have some bad consequences for doing that back in the United States. If you're doing that like Chicago O'Hare Airport, you're probably going to spend 90 days in an airport jail or something like this. I mean, it's not, again, the point of this video, I think, is more illuminating, honestly, for expats. Thais are well aware of all this stuff. They just kind of take it in stride. But it is very odd that foreigners tend to come to Thailand. And I once heard it said in what I used to call the pulp fiction or the pulp nonfiction of, some 15 years ago. They used to have these books at the airport here and they all had kind of like cartoonish covers, but it was about foreigners living in Thailand. They had all these stories and things. And I remember reading one of them, and I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but they said, Thailand's the only place where the foreigners check their brains in at the airport when they arrive. And then they just kind of leave and wander around. And there's something to be said for that. I don't know what it is, but it seems like everybody comes down here and wants to go all crazy. And it's like, hey, this is a normal country. This isn't a place where, craziness is particularly, and I hesitate to use the term crazy, but this wildness, where you're just kind of wildly acting inappropriately. I don't know why, but it just seems like people tend to come and try and do that here in Thailand with more frequency than I've ever seen it really anywhere else in the world.